Gotta actually bring up the, there we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, hey, we finally got it. I always love the incredibly rare... Oh, hey, Flash. Um, I love those... I love the fact that each save file has an incredibly rare intro, and I'm glad we got it on this one. I think we also got it on the original playthrough on the channel as well. On the, on my YouTube channel. I just can't remember, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Oh wait, no, it's not this one. Wait, is it this one? Yes, it is that one. Oh yeah. So, my goal right now is to defeat the boat level. Rusty Bucket Bay, famously, is one of the notoriously bad levels of this game. And I could say with absolute certainty that the rumors are in fact true. It is the worst level of this game. Some people would like to say that the last level is actually the worst level of the game. Those people usually rush through the game and try not to interact with that level. And I'm telling them they are wrong for doing so. So, oh yeah, I have 20 now. Again, like, last time I streamed this, I mentioned that it's kind of sad that Rusty Bucket Bay never actually returns to level 1. Because I actually felt having the staircase going up is really neat. And having everything just be underwater is, kind of ruins the aesthetic of the opening. Okay. So, on my original playthrough of this, I made the incredibly bad mistake to not immediately do everything on the bridge of the ship. So the way that this level works is that there are several ways down into the ship. This is one of them. Like, down here. Yeah, Rusty Bucket Bay is okay of a level. It is just... Uh-oh. Forgot about that. It is just notoriously difficult. Because what would happen is that people would go into this level. I'm surprised it didn't die from that. People would go into this level not... Dang it. Not knowing what to expect, and then they just, don't make it. Believe it or not, those were the last notes I got in the original playthrough of this game. It's really funny. Okay. So, these guys are really annoying. They don't die from golden feathers. And so you just have to just avoid them. And I always forget which one of these windows you could pop open at any one time. So I just check all of them. The standard goblin enemies. I do like how they find better, new ways to just reuse the same enemies over and over again. It's not... It's a very common thing in platformers to just reskin your enemies over and over again, but I don't know, I actually kind of like what they do in this. So, I can't remember which game it was, but a code came up in that game, and it was the code that's written on the side of the ship right there. 312111. That code is so seared into my memory that I instantly knew that it was a Banjo Kazooie reference the second I saw it. It's actually kind of funny. Okay, that's the one I don't go down. This is the one I go down. Yeah. Yeah, taking the, I got corrected that not every level has the same music, but they have the same chord progression, quote-unquote. But just with different instruments, like how, Mad Monster Mash is the organ, and, is the organ, one of them is a xylophone, and I can't remember which one it is, right off the top of my head right now. But, there's something, that was it. The accordion one was, the one that is an accordion is, come on, brain, you could do it. Treasure Trove Cove. And the tuba for this one is really cool. It really does set that, that sort of, vibe this level is really going for. I don't really know a good way to say it other than I really like the aesthetic of this level, but there are some challenges in this level that make it kind of annoying to play through. It doesn't make it... Again, I still love Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie. Yeah, I'm aware of that one. That was... Like, what? That video is now, like, 6 or 7 years old now? It was like, to think that that video is, like, that old is insane to me. Okay. Oh, there we go. See that one because there's actually, like, rendered inside of it. Okay. Okay, it looks like we're in the, we have now reached the navigation office. You know, as a kid, I always wondered where these maps were to, and I thought that this was a map of the entire place. Like, the entire world that Banjo-Kazooie is in. And I think this might actually be a map of Donkey Kong 64? I'm not sure. Like, but as a kid, I'm like, wow. It's like they even have maps to everything here. And it actually, like, impressed me? That's not the way out. There we go. Don't do that. Okay, we're almost done with, everything along the side. Real talk, I always forget about the kitchen. I always forget that the kitchen is an area you could go to in this game. Sorry, in this level. It's got a bunch of eggs in the fridge. It's all, like, haphazardly sitting there. There we go. Red hot ovens tend to burn. Yeah, I got it. Ugh. I think that's everything. And up. I think there's like... Yeah, here it is. This is either the last one or there's at least one more. No, this is the last one. Nope. I have to reacclimate every single time. Yeah, every single time I forget which button is which when it comes to directionals. I just wish that the control scheme was a little bit better. Like, I wish that the emulation of the C-stick wasn't so wonky. But this is basically what I signed up for when I said I wanted to play the N64 version, and the N64 version has a C-stick, so they're gonna give me the C-stick experience. There we go. Not climbing up that yet. Get up here. Again, I am not kidding you when I said I did not write this down. I just remember this code by heart. There we go. I find it kind of funny that, they deliberately went out of their way to not have you, to not have the last part of your, of the code be on the 2. Okay. So now we're over here. Normally we would have needed the jump pad, which we might actually still need to. But we have these 2 cranes. And each one lifts up a box for us to do stuff with. This one is, get to, the spot underneath the cage at all costs. And there we go. That's 3. And now it goes down the second we're away from it. Don't do that. That's rude. Yep. Okay, now time for the second crane. So earlier I mentioned, like earlier, I mean like in the first stream of this game that I did, that this game technically has 3 bosses. While that is, again, technically true, I actually forgot I can't get there from here. While it's technically true that there are 3 bosses in the game, not including the final boss, it's not exactly, well, doesn't exactly line up, let's just say. Instead of Banjo Tooie's, hey, here's a little cutscene, the boss is coming in, then you fight it for a Jiggy, using whatever you got in the, level as your method of taking them out. To pay the 2 toll. Instead, they just have really interestingly hard enemy encounters. Ugh. Camera's a little bit weird. 5, 6. And you could tell that I did the whole thing because they no longer accept stuff. There we go. Oh hey, the window, you could see through the window, so you could clearly break this. Alright, the G is just right here. Okay, let's see what else is over here. If I remember correctly... Oops. Yeah, the gimmick of this level is that, we can't touch the water. When you touch the water, just by sitting on top of the water, you start losing life. So you start losing, air. Because of how thick the oil is. Which, for a level gimmick, it's not bad. It just means that they want you to be in the water for a very long time. Okay, now I have to find our way back up. There we go. Almost messed it up a second time. Thanks, Flash. We're gonna need those extra lives. Okay, out the door. Okay, first things first, we actually should probably get the shore before we do anything else, and then formulate a plan afterwards. I kind of want to do everything under the water last for that exact reason. But, fortunately, unlike... Now, this might surprise you, I've run this level many times. There we go. I sometimes leave that ginger for last, just because. Uh-oh. Hey, Snacker, how are you doing? Gonna swim up here. Okay, so I didn't talk to him, but there is a little dolphin trapped underneath the anchor. I like how they think that that's an intimidating enemy gauntlet. It is actually really funny, seeing what the game developers thought was going to be a challenging game moment, and ones that just thought that they weren't, that wasn't actually going to be a challenge. Little anchor button. Anchor cuts through the dolphin. Thanks, guys. Found this earlier, it's for you. And left it on the floor. And I will leave you for later in case I need it. Yeah. So after watching, someone play through, Mario 64 again, they were speedrunning it to the best of their ability after not playing it for, like, several months. and not knowing any of the routes. Like, not really. They came to the same conclusion I did as a kid, and they needed everyone to know that the N64 may have some of the funnest, platformers ever created, as so says the internet. They have never had a good camera, and anyone that tries to defend the camera is wrong. Like, the N64 has always had a bad camera. Like, it doesn't matter what game it is. Star Fox 64 has a bad camera, and and they somehow made a game... Like, it is one of those things where it makes you immensely glad that we started doing twin stick camera controls. Twin stick camera controls at some point, and we've never looked back. Really makes you happy. Again, it's one of the lamentable things when I say that the Xbox version of this game controls a lot better, but I wish I didn't have to recommend it as the best way to play the game. On the bright side, if you're the type... Yeah, Lilat Wars. Flash, if you remember, the camera controls in the 3D sections are just not really good. And the second that, like, the camera passes over anything, because on the N64 we still hadn't figured out how cameras should work, up until, like, I think the PS2, several people were still considering the camera as a physical object. So, you have a lot of games, like Banjo Kazooie, in which the second that it touches an object, to prevent it from getting stuck, like what I'm doing right here, the second that it hits the object, it clips until it isn't hitting the object anymore. Like that. It is a very annoying thing with N64 games. And it's impossible to ignore, you know? I feel that a lot of people that never grew up with the N64 never really understood the value of having a good camera in a video game. Like, it is astounding how many times I've seen, game developers, like, not understand what we have learned from video games, and just re-implement the old stuff again. Like, I can't remember which game came out recently. Like, it was, like, within the last, like, year and a half or so. But... oh gosh. But the way that their camera worked was exactly like I am describing for like I have been describing for Banjo Kazooie. And even though I will freely admit not everyone is gonna like Tui, I still feel like there were enough changes between there were enough changes between them on just a technical level that makes it the superior game. And I'm not talking about like graphical power. I'm just talking about like the game loads faster, the game feels a lot better to play. And yeah, there's always going to be those people that look at the N64 platformers and just not understand. But it literally does come down to, why do so many people have a form of Stockholm Syndrome for N64 games? Because I will freely admit I am one of those people, and the answer is, when you are in a, when you're in a lower class household, like, you don't have that much money to have for video games or any form of recreation. Like, and you get, like, one new game a year. And you sit there and you play the same game for hundreds of hours between the next games coming out. Like, it starts to build. You start getting this sort of like, no, this is a good game. I would know because I've played it long enough that I'm able to see all of the cracks, and I am able to just manage with the way that the game is. But that's not actually, like, that's not having a good experience. Like, what you're doing is that you're training yourself better with a bad experience. And that could happen for any game. And it's why I lament the, it's why I lament the fact that I actually like Tui as much as I do. Because I know that most of that is exactly what I said. Yeah. Most of it is what I said, where you just get so good at a game that all of its problems just start washing away. Oh, thanks. It's, like, I will still say that Banjo Tooie is my favorite, is one of my favorite N64 games. It is, on a technical level, not as good as my second favorite, which is, of course, the incredibly amazing, Rayman 2. Specifically for the N64 version, I feel bad for anyone who played the PlayStation version and got half of the game. I also feel bad for people that played the Dreamcast version. Well, no, I will say that the N64 version doesn't have the voice acting from the Dreamcast version. Or is it the PlayStation version? I always forget which one has it. But I honestly think that the best, I honestly think it's one of those games that should have been re-released years ago, and they just haven't, because Ubisoft is not that good of a game developer. Yeah, save packs for Rayman 2 didn't work for us either. We had to 100% that game in one sitting. And if you know how long that game is, that's ludicrous, and I don't feel bad at all about spending an entire, like, 2 weekends with my dad, like, going through and 100%ing that game to completion. I do not feel bad about it. It's one of my favorite memories about gaming. But man, I wish I did have a good save system on that, because geez. Okay. Now let's actually go over there. Let's see how much we've actually, like, uncovered so far. I'm gonna believe it's not that much. Almost 80% of the notes, half of the jiggies, and neither of the honeycomb pieces. Let me try to think to see where the other honeycomb piece is. I think one is on top of this. No, that's the switch. Oh, I know how to get to I know how to get to that now. If only I had just finished going up this tower, I could have found it. I don't... Yeah. Yeah, it's like the only, like, 4 games that well, 5. The only 5 games I had for, the N64 was, both Banjo games, Rayman 2, I believe we rented Diddy Kong Racing, and Wave Racer. But... Can't believe I fell for that. I can't believe I fell for that. What is wrong with me? Okay. Traveling back up. Yeah, so I didn't grow up with any Zelda games until, like, the first Zelda game I had actually, like, sat down and played to completion was Breath of the Wild. The first Zelda game I actually played was, little bits of Ocarina of Time through, Smash Brothers Brawl that had the save file that you can play. Like, that is not a good, way to be introduced to that series. But, I will say that I enjoyed playing, several of the games, especially the ones for the Wii. I honestly think that the 2 Wii games, the 2 Zelda Wii games are oddly underrated. Like, it feels weird to say, hey, people don't like, Twilight Princess, and, like, whenever I tell people that, they're like, nah, it's a well-liked game, and then they think about, like, where it stacks up for people in their tier list, and it's oftentimes, like, not even, like, it's, like, underneath their, like, it's, like, 4th or 5th favorite. Because, of course, whichever one is... Because Ocarina of Time is going to be on their top... is going to be their top one. Like, it is... If they are a Zelda fan, they are going to put that one on top. And it's not even, like, me, making fun of them for that. It's like, they just have a lot of nostalgia for that game. I just don't think the N64 ones are... I'm not gonna say that they aren't good, but they haven't aged well. And I feel like that if you were to remake those games in, let's just say, the Breath of the Wild engine. Oh, come on, camera. That is the worst path I've ever seen, but it is a way over here if we fall. And there we go with that one. I actually for oh, it's the orange Jinjo. I'm like, what's over here again? Oh yeah. The bright side, we can recoup our health. There we go. One last one. Oh, that's actually the last one. Cool. Yeah. I sadly never played, yeah. I unfortunately have this, hang-up when it comes to, Twilight Princess for the Wii, though. Like, again, I said that it's underrated, but I honestly feel that the only reason why... Oh, wait. There we go. That, one of the thing that kind of, is bad about it for the Wii is that it kind of, the two Wii games are really awkward because they have to restructure the entire character around now being right-handed because, you know, like, 90% of the world is right-handed. So it's really awkward to basically go, yeah, I know that Link was, like, left-handed up until now, but, now we've changed the lore, he's right-handed. Yeah, so like I said, this is one of the very few, like, actual bosses. Unfortunately, he is an incredibly easy boss that gets, taken out by the superior power of, getting the golden feathers upgrade. I didn't want it, really. Yeah, sure. I'm not upset. I'm not owned. There we go. Okay. So, as of right now, what are we missing? To be honest, I actually probably should have, probably should have climbed... I should have, went over onto the tower right there before I actually did that. Yeah, the entire world is, yeah, it's one of the, guess I'm walking. Twilight Princess is a little bit weird like that, but I still fundamentally like the story of Twilight Princess, and so I give it a pass. But just because I give it a pass, and I basically say, hey, the GameCube version is a little bit better for me, doesn't invalidate the Wii version, that technically is a better version of the game. But yeah, going back to, Banjo games, though. I was actually going back through some of my old footage, and I completely forgot that I had not actually finished, Nuts and Bolts. There we go. So if we ever, I might actually just bring the Xbox back in here after, after I'm done with a few other things I've got, on my plate. I might dive back into that game. Okay. One of them is inside... One of them is inside the chamber that we're about to go into. One of the honeycomb pieces are in there as well. Then we have to do the puzzle, and then we have to do the timing to get out and grab that Jiggy. I have a distinct feeling that I am missing a honeycomb piece. Now, I do not do this lightly. But yes, in fact, Rusty Bucket Bay is one of the only levels that I actually forget everything inside of. And I will tell you right now, like, all I need to be told is where they are. Like, I don't actually, like, need, like, some fancy, like, setup, like, oh yeah, like, I'm gonna pull up a strategy guide I'm gonna look through. Like, like, when I played through Banjo Tooie, the reason why I had a guide up on the side was literally so I could make sure that I did everything in a succinct, timely fashion. Just to jog my memory. This is the only level I can actually think about where I have to actively, like, look up certain things about it. And all I had to do was for it to tell me, hey, where in the level is it? And they told me it's here. This building right here. I had completely forgotten that there is a hole in this side of the wall right there. I always forget about it. I always forget about it. I forgot it in the original playthrough. But yeah, in here is a little mini boat dock. There's a massive one right here. And there we go. I had to mute myself so I can cough a little bit. I have a sick roommate, and I'm pretty sure they gave it to me. Thankfully it looks to only be like a mild flu. So I'm not like in like drastic like need. Like I don't even need to like stop going to work. Like I just need to make sure that I woo! I love doing that. It's like one of the funnest things in this entire level. Gotta check down here. Nope. Got everything. And back out. Aim for the hole in the fence. Nope. Accidentally missed the hole in the fence and almost got destroyed by the shark. But yeah. That one thing in the game, like, I distinctly remember I've seen several people play through this game and never actually find that one. I think that one actually might be the hardest to find honeycomb piece in the entire game. Because nothing actually prepares you for finding it. Okay. So, with everything that we just found, we can now do the hardest challenge of this entire game. You might be wondering, like, what is actually the hardest challenge of this game? If you've never seen this game, it's in here. This little door that I opened up. Okay. So, before I go down, gonna make sure... Ow. There we go. I only have 2 left in my revolver chamber of honeycomb pieces. So, this is the engine room. The engine room is one of the hardest. Also, you could definitely tell that these gears are not actually like 3D elements. They're actually just they have no backing to it. It's really funny. So, when we were inside that room over there, we hit a button to slow a lot of this down. A lot of the stuff that we are... Okay. Okay. That actually should be enough for the final transformation on the last level. Okay, slowing those fans a little bit down. To be honest, I actually probably just messed myself up. I was probably supposed to have this one be the last one. Okay. I really don't want to make a mistake. Like, you do not understand how tense I am right now. I don't want to make a single mistake while I'm in this room. Because if I were to fall down, it's instant game over. Dang it. And because we died, we have to get all those notes again. Every single note in the entire level respawned. So, what's our plan? Not touching the notes. We're gonna re-get those notes later. This is one of the things that when I say the Xbox version is very merciful for, it's this. Because the Xbox version, in their good graces, oh my gosh, I forgot, it resets the Switch as well. The Xbox version remembers all of this stuff. So I need to go find that room again, hit that switch to slow the fans down, and then go through all that again. And I have to go through all that again every single time I die. It is actually the worst thing in this whole game. And there is absolutely no defending it. There is nothing you can do, and nothing you could say to someone who grew up playing this game that would not make this actually the worst part of the game. So hit that to slow down the fans. On the bright side, I did get that Mumbo token. I actually probably should have got that Mumbo token last. Like, as the last thing in the entire level. Now they really think about it. But it's okay, because this is an important experience to playing on the N64 version. It's one of the reasons why I say that if you're the type of person who has never actually played the N64 version, the Switch is a very good showcase of why the N64 version, like, gives people, like, Stockholm Syndrome. Because there are people who honestly believe that this is peak game design. Where it's like, no, 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 like... Yeah, look at that, like... Those aren't even, like, 3D models. They have no back to them. Well, I mean, they are 3D models. They just aren't actually, like, a complete shape. Okay. Got it. Should this one actually be the last one? Because I could just jump across it. Yeah, this one's gonna be the last one. It also gives me an opportunity to get that, free 1-up that they put right next to those fans for, those fan switches for a reason. Like, when I said earlier that we are going to need those extra lives, I wasn't kidding. Okay. We use this to slow down the fan once. Get this go back up to 4 lives. So, you might be wondering, what are we gonna do here? Apparently we're gonna die. And we have to do it all again. Again, this is one of the indefensible parts of this whole game. If you told me that you gave up on 100%ing the game at this point, I would not fault you. Again, you can 100% the game and skip 2 jiggies. And I am counting 2 jiggies in that room for a reason. Like, I would not fault you if you said that you got 100% of the game and then skipped those 2 in that room. I do not fault you at all. And it's not like I could use the golden feathers. The golden feather, even if we had the golden feathers, the fan would still push us out of the way. So it's not like... it is a giant deterrence of people, like... It is not a, it is literally a skill issue. I completely understand that. But, like, I'm just kind of bad at timing. Is one of the reasons why, I was going to, play, Hi-Fi Rush for my channel, and then I realized, oh, people are not gonna like seeing someone play on easy because they have absolutely no rhythm, you know? Not that. Okay. I actually know of, that there is apparently a speedrunning technique to getting over these in a succinct fashion. I do not know it. Hitting that to make the slow faster. Slow faster? To make that slow down. Okay. Camera's stuck on something. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So our goal right now... By the way, we are most likely gonna die. These will be the 4 last notes we get in this whole game. In this whole level. Okay. Again, that one is not as bad of a Jiggy. I'm just kind of bad. Did we get the Jiggies over there? What am I doing? Oh wait. Dang it. Okay. I didn't die. Okay. Hit that now. That's gonna slow to a crawl. We now have 70 seconds to make it back outside. Of course. What? Yeah. So not only do we have to do all that, it's also timed. So, imagine me as a young kid crying because I couldn't figure out how this worked. Like, I got both this and Tui 100%. I am unaware of how long it took me to get 100% in this level. Again, this one-up right here is the thing that feels like a mercy. Like, they put that there because they knew that they made a bad challenge. It is definitely one of those things. I'm gonna just tell you right now, I consider myself to have gotten all of the notes in this game. Well, in this level. So I'm not gonna go back and grab all of the remaining notes, like, on camera. Once I beat this level, I will switch to a different game and then get the notes off camera. Because, honestly, I don't want all of you sitting here just, like, watching me fail this 5 million times. But the Jiggies, I do have to show. I almost fell off of that. I'm ashamed of myself. Okay, so that's fan number 1 down. Extra life gotten. Lined up. Strategically aiming myself that I am on the right side so I get the most amount of coverage when I jump through it. Okay, next time through. Camera's being wonky right now. Ah, dang it! So as you can see, this is the reason why people hate this level. People who grew up with this game have PTSD from this music for a reason. Like, it may be, like, a great song, but when people hear this music, they're not thinking about, like, the cool parts of this level. They're thinking of this fan room. And the worst part is that I could have gotten that Jiggy by now if I was a little bit more... If I was a little bit more prompt when going over that pass. Like, I totally understand that. That's because I didn't know how long the cycle had been. And I thought I had already passed it. So, me wanting to be safe ended up killing me. What? And I didn't even get the 1-up. Like, that little tiny part, like, you probably noticed, like, every single time that I did that jump, my character model wavered a little bit, because it was getting stuck on the actual geometry of the object. And it didn't know which part to actually put me on, of whether or not I was actually on it, or on the side of it. Like, before we had... Yeah. Before we had, rage games like, Super Meat Boy and Getting Over It, we had this. We had this level. And I am... And again, this puzzle would not be as bad if the camera was passable. But because the camera is not passable, like, it makes this whole thing worse. Come on. Come on. Do it. There we go. Fan number 1 for the 6th time. And you know what? I'm gonna be extra cautious this time. I'm actually gonna go the long way around. Even though it might be... Dang it. That one was on me. Like, that one was totally on me. Like, I just approached that the wrong angle. Yeah, so when I say I do not fault anyone for skipping this Jiggy entirely, like, now you see why. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't even need to hit this button every single time, since I'm not actually moving between those. I just do it habitually. Okay. 7th time. There we go. I wish I had the nerves of steel of someone that speedruns this game. Like, I really do. Like, imagine they're doing a 100% run, they get to this level, and they do this on their first try. Multiple times in a row. Like, to be able to do something like that, like, takes an amount of skill I only dream to have one day. The camera is actively fighting against where I want it to be placed. Okay. I'll wait for that to be in the air. So it's going to be down when we pass. There we go. Camera's fighting me again. They literally put those guys there so you could be annoyed. Oh my gosh, I actually made it back out. So I could get all the notes. I could get all the notes right now, but you've actually seen me get all the notes already on camera. I will get all of those off camera because I value my time and I value other people's time. Yay! There we go. And honestly, like, what was it? The record I had was like, what, like 96? Yeah, just those 4 left? That's fine. That is absolutely fine. I could get all of those later. Because right now, I wanted to do actually 2 games today. We are not. We are actually going to just be doing both levels 7 and 8. No, 8 and 9. Mad Master Mansion is level 7. We are doing levels 8 and 9 today. No bones about it. We are just straight going into Click Clock Wood, which is, I'm gonna just let you know right now, my favorite level in both Banjo games. Because I love the aesthetic of the level, and I feel like it does something with its aesthetic. It also has one of the best transformations in the whole game because you could fly without using feathers. So let me just go down here and check. I believe we had already unlocked this level, but I need to make sure. I need to make sure that I did it, and yes, we in fact did. It would be really awkward to go there and then realize that we did not actually complete the picture. Okay. Sorry, I had to sneeze a few times. And because I have a chronic need to tell people what I'm eating, when I tweeted that I was going live, I mentioned that I had a peanut butter and chocolate wafer bars, and I do. These things are really nice. The only unfortunate part is that they're called Nutty Buddies, and I never want to say that. It's way too awkward. Okay. Welcome to Click Clack Wood. So the way that this level works is that it's actually a sequence of four of the same level. Okay. The way that this works is that each of these doors lead to the same level. But what the game wants you to do is they want you to go through each of the four parts in order. So the first part is spring, starting off at the beginning of the year. Because everyone knows that winter is the end of the year. Okay. So first we have spring. Spring is constantly raining. All of the leaves and flowering parts of this level are reduced because they are just budding. And you also have these, I believe they are actually called clap traps. I have not double-checked that. The water level is neutral. Somebody move this boulder! Gennady can't get into his house. I hate the fact that his name is Naughty, with a G. Why? Why did you name him that? There we go. So, much like the bowl in, much like the bowl in, Mumbo's Mountain, we can't actually kill him. If we, go into Golden Feathers mode, we actually just, like, bump him back, and we don't actually take him out. Oh, wait, I completely forgot to do it again. I did it on my playthrough. I don't want to do it again. Okay. This hole right here is the star of this level. Please do not do that, camera. There we go. Okay, we have spawned the giant flower. Dang it. Every single time we go to the next stage, that flower will have sprouted a little bit more. They always do that on the first one. They always play that little cutscene, and it's never one that's actually above a an actual like edge, so it just looks awkward. Pulling us up on gold feathers. Yeah. Stop it. Okay, have a good one. One of the, actually kind of, always gotta check behind Mumbo's hut. There could just be anything over there. There could even be another hut. Okay. Mumbo magic, much good. Bee is best yet. So, the way that the bee works is that we basically have infinite flight. And to be honest, it is a little janky. But one of the plus sides of being the bee is these guys don't hurt you. So you can basically just walk around them and not care. So it's one of the reasons why being the bee for this level is actually a bonus. Downside, you can't defend yourself. Defending yourself is for transformations with minigames. In Banjo Kazooie, eventually you get to shoot needles out of you, but hey, that's for later. Hello, fat little bee. We Zubbas are guarding Grunty's golden honey piece. We've been told there's a honey bear out there. There have been times in which I actually just do this one last. Like this whole minigame last. Just so I can get that Jinjo last, so everything is just inside this beehive. One of the most advisable things in the universe, doing this fine platforming as the bee when you can. Because being able to have no consequences for your platform mistakes is very handy. Back at 7. There was something on top of Mumbo's hut. No? Okay. I do like how they surround the hut with feathers, like it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna be needing these. And by the way, yes, we are actually going to need to come back over here as the bee in a little bit. It's just I wanted to get a few things here first. One of them being this guy. So normally you could just get the Jinjo with Banjo. But it just feels better to get it as the B. And of course, wouldn't be a transformation if they didn't give you a Jiggy only you as the transformation could get. There was a guide that I saw that basically advised you to do all the B stuff last, which I actually recommend as well. I just wanted to get the B out of the way with that, because I most likely will just forget. Just like how I forgot about the flower on the initial playthrough of this game. But yeah. Also, you can't take the B outside of this level. Sorry, outside of Sprint. So, I thought I would be clever and try to do something in winter as the B. I go over to winter, and before I could even get to the doorway, it just canceled me out, going, nah. It's like, don't even try. But okay. So now we have to make it up the long way, which is fine. Like, the long way is the long way that happens in games. Someone sent me something. Gonna have to check that later. And yes, I am taking these guys out just so I can remember that I have done so. Because nothing is worse than backtracking and then you run into one of those guys again on accident. So clearly we're not supposed to go up here yet, but we could. It's just that the platforms are way too small for us. Oh, I thought there was another one right there. Huh. Dang it. The wrong button. Oh well. Keep doing that. Yeah, as you could probably tell, there's a reason why I like the music for this level. Flutes are oddly majestic when it comes to music. Okay. So the way that we progress further, get the camera working, and we have to do this little dance back and forth. Go right there. A little bit more. On the bright side, it's a little bit more generous than the one that we had to do in, yeah, than the one that we had to do for... Which one was it? Now I'm just blanking. For, Flanker's Cavern. So, this is a deceptively sloped path. If we don't actually use Kazooie to walk up it, we will slide back down. Okay. Now summer is open. We could progress through summer, but we actually want to do something else first. Chomp, chew. Nabna likes acorns. I'll just eat a few more. Okay. There isn't anything right here right now. So, if we were to go into first person, then look over, you can see that there is a window right there and a window over there. We can enter both of those. Just not right now and not on this season. Mostly because we don't actually have a good way to fly around right now. Another reason why I like this level so much, this is one of the, there we go. Brr! Meet Irie. Mighty Eagle. Need sleep now. Don't you appreciate when babies just spawn with diapers on? So you don't have that awkward moment where you have to put one on them? So, us uncovering Aerie right there is effectively the only real thing we needed to do. Like, spring is a massive, like, setup season. We could go into this door at any time. But I just choose to do it now. So for some reason, I distinctly remember that there is something else in this room, and I don't think there is. Yeah, there's another life up there. But the only way you can get there is if you came here as the bee. So, one of the most important uses of our camera. We need to figure out where the water is. We could gently go down from here. Water's right there. And there we go. We made it down safely. Yeah, so we only got 2 Jiggies. One of them we could have gotten at any time. Well, technically, both of them we could have gotten at any time. This entire level was just set up for the rest of the level. And honestly, it's kind of a shame. I kind of like spring. Has the default music. Okay. Since we unlocked it, we can now enter summer. The big aspect about summer is 2 things. 1, leaves are fully extended. Oh, Eerie hungry. Need 5 caterpillars. So, 2 big things. Leaves are fully extended. Also, you could definitely tell that the music changed because we went to a different season. Hungry animals like caterpillars. Eek. Okay. There's, like, freestanding bees at this part of the level, but it's okay because they're a little bit slower than if they, came out of the beehives. So, leaves, fully extended, so we can use them as platforms. Water, receded. You look pretty strong. Can you move this boulder for me? Wow, what strength. Come inside and I'll give you a reward. Nope. We cannot actually go up there. We actually need to get the water level back up. And, of course, that means that we have to actually wait until... We have to wait until autumn to do that. Luckily, we have the autumn switch right here. And there we go. Now we just need to find our way up from here. There we go. I think in total you need to scale the tree, I think, at least four times. Because again, you need to go up there in each season. You need to talk to Eerie to get all the stuff for it. I take absolutely no pleasure in this, hurting these birds. Dang it. I have to go all the way back up. But yeah. So our big goals right now is, the beehive, which we're going to be able to enter either now or next season. This flower thing over here. And exploring near Nabnut. Basically, those are the 4 locations we need to keep going back to each time. And we must always be on the lookout for more caterpillars. Oh no, it's you two! I thought Gobi was safe here. Don't mind me, Gobi, I just need your water. Well, you stopped doing that. It took me ages to find more water. Our plant is now big and strong. Thank you for coming, Gobi. Couldn't have done it without you. There we go. That's 2. There's the 3rd. And again, we only need 5. So, instead of, dang it. There's 4. Too hot for magic. Want suntan. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, so each season, there's going to be different things inside of his hut. so we do need to explore every single time. And also gives us a chance to see it. It also should become imminently clear that you could only become a bee in spring. So anything that requires a bee, you should do in spring. Okay. So now that these leaves are fully extended, we can now follow this path. Dang it. I really did try to just, like, worm my way back onto it, but the game was like, yeah, no. Okay. So, little tiny pad right here. But, see, it worked that time. And we could use this to go up here. Honestly, like, one of the things to like about summer is that you get this little jumping challenge. And unlike the rather annoying challenge from Busted Bucket Bay, this one's manageable. Okay. So inside this little hut, we can actually, like, look around. There is a 1-up and there is a Jiggy, but we are actually not going for that. We could actually get it right now, but I don't want to. Mostly because there is a different season that is a lot less caustic on our sanity. Let's try to get that. Believe it or not, I'm actually heading back down. Like, that jumping challenge was the shortcut. But if I remember, yeah. Why you always double check? These 3 notes could have been, lost the time if we had forgotten to do that. And look, we could have also missed out on this guy. We now have more than required, but don't worry. Because we're clearly going to need to feed him later on, too. Like, you can hear Eerie, like, all the way up. All the way from over here. I believe there's only, like, 5 Mumbo tokens left in the entire game. I could be wrong on that, though. I distinctly remember that after you do the last transformation, you should have 25 left. Once everything is said and done. Okay. 19? That's good enough. Let me just double check to see if they put a, nope, they did not put a feather right there. I thought they did. I thought they had, Thought they hid one. The honey bear! She's after Grunty's golden honey piece! Sting him, Zubbas! Oh, she's beating us. Oh well. We were getting bored of guarding it anyway. Yeah, that simple. I've seen some people... I've actually seen several people, like, tried to do that with, like, jumping around and, like, and pecking everywhere, and I'm like, nah. All you need is the golden feathers upgrade. All you need is the golden feathers upgrade. Okay, how much do we have right now? That doesn't look like a lot, but we've also got to remember that everything is divided among 4 levels. For the same level. And as long as you explore every inch of... Yeah, as long as you explore every inch of the map every time, you should be fine. It's not like... Ow. Yeah, it's not like this level is particularly hard. Which I've actually heard several people say, is that this is the hardest level, but... Come on, you saw me. You saw what happened before. I actually got all 3 pieces. I'm surprised at that. Like, I am not usually that accurate. Oh, it's a good thing I came down here. I almost missed this guy. But I did miss this guy. I'm pretty sure I forgot. Nope. Didn't have anything in front of him, so I assumed. Okay, back up here. Correct the camera. Okay, next order of business is to visit Nabnut. Camera. Huh. I didn't actually get his dialogue before. Was never actually near enough to one to actually see it. There we go. We're gonna have 8. Nabnut? Nabnut's eating too many acorns. I've got none left for next winter now. Shame. Also, don't be gross. Okay. And of course, now they put birds here. So it makes the jumping a little bit more perilous. Because instead of correcting with your feathers, you have to, I have to sit here and put all 5 of them in his gullet. Very full now. Need sleep. Isn't that nice? Okay. Last thing for us to check is just up here. And again, like, the later into the level you get, the more platforms there are to actually help you get up. So there are some things about, like, oh hey, the door all the way over here, do you actually need to get here in spring? No. But me getting here in spring means that I can show that I can actually do that. And to be completely honest, like, the actual platform of this game is not actually that bad, but I could definitely see how you would become very frustrated with it after a little bit. What am I doing? I could have just used the beehive trick again. Okay, going back over there again. Okay. A little bit further. Yeah. And the thing is that now that the flower is actually bigger, it's more of a landing pad. There we are. Now, I am... You thought I wouldn't see you there. Hiding in the grass like a coward. Okay. So, we have Autumn open. I'm trying not to sneeze right into my microphone. Bear get eerie, more caterpillars. Need 10 this time. There's like one right behind you. Come on, you can do it. Okay, so as you can see, now there's a bunch of piles everywhere. It's gonna make traversal a little bit more simple. So, we still have platforms, but they're a little wilted now. So, that platforming challenge we did, a little bit harder now. Okay, we have 4 left. We have 4 still. Sorry. Don't laugh at me, jerk. Okay, we're at 21. Okay, so we still have our leaves out, but the water level has risen again. It means that it's the perfect time to talk to Naughty. Since now we can swim up here. Very cool. Oh, Here you are at last. I've been waiting months to give you this. 5. You may think that that's a low number, but you would be surprised how many G's are in Autumn alone. Okay, so we need to check up on 2 things while we're down here. 1, we need to find the switch for winter. And if I remember correctly, I believe it's up in the tree. So that's already taken care of. Kind of rude to stack 3 on top of them like that. Yeah, luckily the bull can't actually climb up the leaf stacks like that. There we go. Now all I need is the blue one left, and most likely the blue one is going to be hidden inside the ice of winter. Because that is how these things roll. Oh hey, Gobi's still here. There's our Jiggy. Right, that's it. I'm off to the lava world. You'll never find me there. The joke is that there is no lava level. So one of the interesting things is that, because there's leaves on the ground, it gives us a little bit of traction. Ooh, that's some intense slowdown right there. Jeez. The leaves give us a slight amount of traction, so, we can travel a little bit more effectively. Here we go. I jumped. Don't lie to me, game. Mumbo busy. Sweep many leaves. No magic today. Okay. Let me just take these notes off of your hands. You didn't need them anyway. So we got a caterpillar, and we got, like, the last few notes that we needed. Okay. We're actually halfway through with notes, actually. I'm actually gonna be right back. I need to do something really quickly. I'm almost back, but um, I just wanted to, because I like telling people what I eat. I'm currently having one of those like little cups of like minute rice, and even if you think that this is like low quality rice, a capful of soy sauce fixes any rice. Like rice is a little bit overdone. Rice is a little bit stale. Put put a cap of soy sauce into there and into like a bowl of rice, and it's good. Like rice is one of those incredibly versatile things. I just love it. Yeah, so I'll be right back. Okay. Just in time. Okay, so once again we've got to make our way back up there. And we've basically shown the course. Whoops. Does show the course several times. So it's not really too important, but they deliberately put the notes on the trail so that we don't miss it. Okay. We only have one more, and then we're good. I actually forget if we're supposed to feed Eerie one last time during winter. I don't think so, though. Again, all of this is running off of internal memory. Like, the only thing I had to look up was that final honeycomb piece in the previous level. Like, that's it. And I didn't even, like, look up, like, how to get it. I just needed to look up where, in what general part of the map it was. For me to remember, oh yeah, the boat dock. There we go. There's our last one. Got it. Yeah, this is the level that I personally feel they want you to be like 100% stocked on yeah, they want you to be 100% stocked up on golden feathers the whole time. Nothing in here for you now, bear. We've all moved out. What are you doing here? They didn't want to take me. Okay. Okay, what's our current total? 73. Yeah, that makes sense. That's bait. We're already at 9 lives. We don't really need any more. So, unlike during summer, while we can't get the extra life that was right there, which we actually don't need, we can get the Jiggy a little bit easier. Let me quickly check up here to see if there's anything. Nope. I love how it's the same floor texture as the path. It's really funny. Yeah, one of the important parts is that it's not fully done, but a large amount of the woodwork for these pads are completely done. Hi there, bear buddy. I need 6 more acorns before winter comes. Have you seen any? Probably sure that there's one in your house that you just forgot. Oh, what do you know? There's one in your house that you just forgot. What a surprise. There's one. Nabda hasn't gotten enough acorns yet. Keep looking. Okay. Oh, that's the acorn. It was making the same noise that happens after you, like, the final note. From, picking up the egg, so I thought it was just looping. I was a little concerned. Okay. There's 2. So there's 1 right here. And then there's 1 above nothingness. Okay, so we're at 4. And the reason why they made you get 6 is because they hid 1 right here to be jerks. Yeah, so give me a second while I get the last one, Nabnut. Yeah, if you just stay right above the acorn, you'll land right on that one, and you have no problems. Most people have problems. So I didn't point this out, but the birds are actually bigger in autumn than any other season. And I guess that makes sense. Hey, Erie. 1 second. I'm actually gonna... nah. Okay. Gotta give all 10 of these individually. I used that opportunity to, eat the rest of my rice. Okay. We have 5 remaining. Again, I don't believe we need to feed him 1 more time. So these 5 that we have are basically just proof that we got all of them. Because they usually have a little buffer room of like of around 5, just in case you miss some of a collectible. I guess it was 6. Okay, we just have to move here. There we go. Uh-huh. We're not 7. We walked in here with, I think, like... What? We walked in here with, like, 3? Did I ever give the last acorn to the Nabnut? I did not give the last acorn to the Nabnut. Dang it. Now I have to go all the way back up. Another reason why I kind of like, Tui is that you actually have a, an additional items tab all the way onto the, right side for totals, and it shows you how many of that item you have. Several levels confiscate, their they're in-level collectibles, but every once in a while you'll just like look through them and then you'll realize, oh, there was a slot for each one. So there is, in some ludicrous world out there, the the fact that you have one of every item in Tui all at once. If you just trick the game into not actually taking things from you. Sorry. Yippee! That's all the acorns I needed. Here, take this. I'll see you in spring. There we go. 8 out of 10. Should be underwater. There we go. So, our current totals right now is that we only have 2 more. We have 2 honeycombs. And we have 16 notes left. Now, I was pretty sure that both of those notes you can only get in winter. I might be wrong. I think one of those nuts you have to get in spring, because you have to get with the transformation. Well, here we are. Winter. Water takes double air. It's not like in Freeze Easy Peak where they treat icy water like it's piranha infested. Everything is slippery, because of course it is. An extra life right there for masochists. You'll notice that all of the birds are gone. And now that this thing is dead... But... There we go. I'm just clearing these guys out because I know for a fact that they're going to be annoying if I don't. And to be honest, these guys were always more annoying than the birds ever were. Like, I don't care if I fell like a few times because I was trying to avoid an attack from a bird. Yeah, moving around on this one is going to be a little bit easier. Because we don't even need to climb up. All we need to do is fly up. And if we run out of feathers, we can go back to an earlier season to get more. Wait, while we're in the air. There we go. Look at Eerie. So cute now. I mean, he was cute before, but look at him. He's just so majestic. No! Namna and his girlfriend. Sorry, I need your feathers. Okay. Do you mind? I'm trying to do something here. Yeah. Worst part of this level? Platforms with ice physics. There we go. There we go. And now we can get this witch switch. There we go. Clearly we have to be the bee on our way out. Because it's not a transformation if you can't do something outside the level with it. Since we're down here, we might as well inspect the flower, and of course... Oh, we actually have 26 left. Huh. Let's just do a little bit more than I thought. So, yeah, it takes twice as much. The ice water takes twice as much, but we need to go down here so we can get our prize for winter. Or I don't usually get visitors in winter. Give me that. Only have one honeycomb bullet left in this chamber. I wish I had the Banjo Kazooie swim faster button, which is just holding both the A and B button at the same time. Yeah, again, anyone that goes for the extra life is insane. It's like, you do not do that. And you can tell that you're not supposed to do that, like, from the word go. Mumbo's on vacation, you hairy fool. Come back in spring. Okay. Just needed all those. Having a little bit more feathers right about now is kind of nice. Forgot about that. So, one of the 2 remaining Jiggies was a Jinjo. It is very rare that actually... I think it's... in my original playthrough? Wait, no, not in the original playthrough. It's really interesting that effectively, if you did everything right, the first level and the last level should be the ones that you finish off. The that you finish off the level by getting the Jinjos as your last one. Okay, now that we're back here, let's try to get back into that hole. Nope. Come on. And yes, I apologize for this, for this VOD being a little bit longer, but I actually felt the need to try to complete Banjo Kazooie today. I wanted to also do some Final Fantasy 1, like I promised, but it looks like that's gonna have to be on Wednesday, because this VOD is going up on Tuesday, so that's happening. There we go. Maximum health. We have now actually gotten every single yeah. We've gotten every single empty honeycomb in the game. And that feels nice. We're gonna just fly around, see where the rest of the notes are, because of course. I'm actually surprised I got back onto the roof. Is it a spring or... yeah. To be honest, I actually really like the fact that every single season has a different outfit for these guys. In spring yeah. Spring and autumn have the same one. In summer, they're now in swim shorts. And in winter, they actually get like little scarves and they get longer shirts. I actually kind of like that. Oh, don't worry. I know not to die. What else do we have left? Isn't this just like a feather? It's like sitting right there. Oh, it's a Mumbo token. Okay, cool. By my estimations, we're only missing one Mumbo token in the entire game, because I believe you have 30 left. Yeah, I believe you have 30 left after you use up all of them. I could be wrong though. Yeah, I know I'm coming, Eerie. Just trying to get these notes. Got him. So... yeah, there's a lot of spare Mumbo tokens in the game. Like, it's actually surprising, like, how many there are left. Yeah. As a kid... there we go. Found all 1,000 notes on this. 100 notes. Eerie, mighty eagle at last! Watch me as I fly into the sky! You could actually see where the model texture ends. Have reward for bear, friend. Here it comes. It already came. Thanks, I guess. Okay. And with that, I believe I've actually gotten everything. Ignore the 4 that I'm missing right there. Don't worry about that. I have gotten everything in the game so far. And I'm gonna have to go back and get those 4 because I am not spending another hour or trying to get all that again. Okay. Okay, now with all of that done, I could go back to spring and become the bee again. Yeah. Yeah, if you've played this game, you know exactly which 4 I do not have. And it's okay, because I'm gonna get those off screen, because I died 7 times in that one room, and I think I've died twice in the entire rest of the game. You know, it is actually kind of fitting. Because if you're actually doing 100%, you start in spring, and then you go back to spring to get everything. As the circle of life continues, time moves forward, as it is known to do so. There we go. Yeah, again, we can't kill him, sadly. He's gonna just stay like that forever. Bright said it looks like, the birds are all gone now. Eh. Okay, turn it back into a bee. Wait, 29? Oh wait, yeah, I was just missing 1. And if I remember correctly, there is like a little Easter egg that happens if you go to him with 30, in which he basically says that he'll make you into a T-Rex and then he turns you into a washing machine, I believe. Like, I believe that is actually the course of how that goes. You know, I always thought as a kid that that the last honeycomb piece was over here, and I was like checking like all over the place for it. Feels weird that they didn't actually hide it right there. The snow score for this world is 100. Yeah, it's the only invincible enemy in the entire game. It's really surprising. Okay, and now that we have all of that, we can go down here. It's so funny opening that door with the bee. Magic run out? Monsters chase you. They're a hounding. And then you'll get a grunty pounding. Yeah, sure. Welcome all, Grunty's the name, Banjo's here to play my game. My lair is done, and here he stands. Throughout all my tricks and traps and lands, this final test will see me win. When Banjo fails, then I'll be thin. The prizes on the stand bring joy, from 2D down to cuddly toy. My little quiz will make you sweat, and 2D you shall never get. 'Cause somewhere soon along the way, your lack of skill will make my day. 'Cause in the fiery pit you'll go, and I will win the prize on show. So step on over to the square, press A to try it if you dare. And of course they put a cauldron right here, so we could fast travel when we're done. And we are not doing this today. We need... Yeah. So we actually need two things before we actually continue with this. And that is, well, of course, the last two notes. Last four notes, which I will get off camera. The other one is that I actually like the little, audio change that's right there. It's really neat. The other thing that we need to get is that we actually... where is it? There it is. We actually need to go and get some information. Because this whole time I've been neglecting... I've been precisely neglecting to do one very important thing in this whole game. And that is we haven't talked to the figure that has been standing around this whole time. And I think the best way to interact with her is to just find her in the first possible spot. Yeah. So I know that people have actually made, for like speedrunning, they have a little thing where it's like, all you need to do is talk to like one Brentilda right here, and you could basically figure out what your seed is for finding out the rest of it. I do not have that, and honestly, it feels a little like cheating. Grunty brushes her rotten teeth with salted slug-flavored toothpaste. Okay. She also washes her hair with engine oil. And she gets her clothes from the Saggy Maggie's boutique. And then she just loops those three. So basically the way that this works is that I'm going to go around and I'm going to write down all of these things. Because I pointed out all the spots before, but to be honest, you don't need to know all these information. Yeah. You don't really need to know all this information. You only need it if you are wanting to make sure that you don't get tripped up by certain spots in the quiz. So I'm going to go around, and I'm going to find all the Brentilda spots, write all the stuff down for next time, because we stayed on this game for like 3 hours, and that is a pretty good time. It means that next time that we play this, we'll be effectively done, because I know for a fact that I can do the quiz and the final boss fight in around an hour and a half. It's not really... Well, either way, like... Either way, I did want to move on to the other game I wanted to play today. And even though I've still been streaming for about like 2 3/4 of an hour, I am going to be switching to that. So I'm going to be right back, and we're going to be switching to the other game that I had set up.